क्वणत्काञ्चीदामा करिकलभकुम्भस्तननता परिक्षीणा मध्ये परिणतशरच्चन्द्रवदना धनुर्बाणान् पाशं सृणिमपि दधाना करतलैः पुरस्तादास्तां नः पुरमथितुराहो पुरुषिका. अष्टादशात् श्लोकात् अस्माकं चर्चाम् अनुवर्तयामहे. तनुच्छायाभिस् sorry. Can you do a small recap of all the shlokas we have discussed? Okay. So far we have seen Devi in many aspects. First is her supremost aspect of being Parabrahman itself. Secondly, we have seen her aspect as being Ishwari, that is a Stree form of Ishwara, who is in charge of the doings of the world, the creations of the world. And therefore, we have seen verses where from just a particle, dust particle, grain of dust from her feet is enough to create an entire, unfold an entire universe and so on. We have seen her Mahatmya as the Kundalini, as the form, the same energy which is permeating the cosmos, but in the microcosm. So there's this philosophical problem in many of the monotheistic religions that when they say God, they actually picture him being transcendent from the universe. That is, he is somewhere, specifically he, is sitting somewhere apart from the universe, away from the universe, uh, trying to control it like a puppeteer. And therefore, one must propitiate before him for favors, for salvation, for fidelity, and all that. The problem with that is this is what is referred to as a Dvaita. Uh, it has a background in Dvaita, or dualistic view of God. We in Sanatana Dharma have what is called as an transcendent as well as an immanent God. So we consider God to be the superset within which there is the Jagat happening, within which there is the Jiva. And so there are parts of the world which are, I mean, the entirety of the world itself is Ishwara or Ishwari in this case. Just as you can just picture this very accurately like a woman who is pregnant. So the fetus is the jiva, the amniotic sac and the fluids around is the and the womb itself is the jagat, and the rest of her body is the God, Ishwari. So this is the idea that we have, where some part of God is transcendental, it is beyond the Jagat, and some part of God is also within and makes up the Jagat. Even in the Purusha Suktam, Tripad Urdhva Udait Purushaha Padosyeha Bhavat Punaha Tato Vishvam Yakramat Sajananashane Abhi, and so on, says God who had four limbs, so to speak. If you just think of some alien-like figure having four limbs, one, okay, this may mislead the audience to think of a cross, but let me depict it like a human itself. So there is a human, one limb of his became of the Purusha of the God of Ishvara became the entirety of the world, whereas the rest of the limbs were Tripad Urdhva Udait. He rose the other three limbs upward, which means he still has three-fourth of his entire portion of supremacy resting beyond the world. So, in that sense, he is a transcendent and an immanent God. He or she, in this case, it is a she. So, as the jiva, as the fetus which is being carried in the womb of the mother, there's a placenta which is attached to the umbilical cord of the fetus, right? So, that umbilical cord is feeding the fetus and nourishing it. Similarly, we also have a similar umbilical cord, which is basically the meru. So, when we sit spine erect, that entire spine itself is like the umbilical cord connecting to the placenta of the mother, which is the Sahasrara, from which we are drawing nutrition, and it is spread out through the rest of the body. So this basic idea, this energy which is getting flowed in to us and out of us is the Kundalini, which we have seen through the many depictions of the chakras and the spokes of the chakras and so on. And then there is also the aspect, the Saguna Sakara aspect of Devi. So we have seen the Parabrahma aspect, then the Ishwari aspect, and then the Kundalini, that is the microcosmic operating principle. Then there is the fourth aspect, which is the Saguna Sakara Rupa. That is an anthropomorphic form of God, which is palatable to bhaktas such as us to meditate upon, to connect with, to build a relationship with. And so, as she, as the Saguna Sakara Ishwari, what are the benefits of doing puja to her? You know, her small glance is enough to make even an old, ugly man into one of the sexiest, handsome, most persons. And similarly, we have seen how she influences Hari and Manmatha, how she comes before Shankaracharya, how he invokes Devi to come with the four hands, with the four, with the slender waist, and so on and so forth. So we have seen all the four levels of God in this.
महोदय
Ah,
अत्र एकं विषयं वक्तुं शक्नुमः
आम्
यदि भवतः
आमां निश्चयेन
अनुमतिः
मम
चेत्
अनुमतिः किमर्थं वदतु
अत्र देवी माहात्म्ये
Hmm.
देवी वदति यदा निशुम्भः पृच्छति
Hmm.
ओ दुर्गा you have been fighting with all these other rupas
Hmm.
like Varahi, Narasimhi, etc. But you said you will only fight alone.
Hmm.
You should fight alone. And then she says, in response, Ekaivaham Jagatra Jagat Jagati Atra Dvitiya ka mama para iti. Ekaivaham Jagati Atra Dvitiya ka mama para iti uchyati devi. Tam tat preshitavan sanketitva.
आमाम् सत्यं वदतु कंटिन्यू प्लीज
देवी एव वदति इति निरूपणं कर्तुं
आम् सत्यमेव तत् एकैवाहम् I am the only person, not only person, but I am the only thing present. Na dvitiya ka mama para. Exactly. Satyam. And so, in that sense, yes, she is the Parabrahma Swarupini, where there is only one unmanifest, homogeneous, you can say some fluid or whatever, substance. Sadhu. So, we have looked at Devi in all the four different aspects. Saguna Sakara, Ishwaratva, Parabrahma Tattva, and the fourth one is Kundalini. So now we will continue with this framework in mind. And of course, also we have seen in her Saguna Sakara form, even we have seen the description of the Sri Chakra as well, the Sri Yantra. तनुच्छायाभिस्ते तरुणतरणिश्रीसरणिभिः दिवं सर्वामुर्वीमरुणिमणिमग्नां स्मरति यः भवन्त्यस्यत्र स्यद्वनहरिणशालीननयनाः सहोर्वश्यावश्याः कति कति न गीर्वाणगणिकाः ते तनुच्छायाभिः तव तनुच्छायाभिः तरुणतर तरणि श्री सरणिभिः सर्वाम् उर्वीं दिवं च यः अरुणिमणिमग्नां स्मरति त्वाम् अस्य तस्य भवन्ति किं गीर्वाणगणिकाः कति कति न ऊर्वश्या वश्याः सह ऊर्वश्या सह वश्याः गीर्वाणगणिकाः याः त्रस्यद्वनहरिणशालीननयनाः विद्यन्ते ते ताः स्त्रियः एतम् अनुसरन्ति इति तस्य अर्थः. Let's look this more deeply. Yaha, he or she who worships Tvam, you, as the one who is enveloping the entirety of the Urvi, Prithvim, Divam, Akasham Cha, the entirety of the earth and the space around has been occupied completely, permeated completely by your Arunimani. Arunima means the color of Aruna. So in such a, like the dawn or the dusk, where the entire world, the soil, the space, and the sky, all of it gets completely wrapped in orange, reddish hue. In such a way, he or she who thinks of you, who does dhyana on you, magnam smarati, and through what other analogies he draws? Tanuchaya bhihi. So, Tanu is Deha. Tanuchaya bhihi te tava tanuchaya bhihi kidrishaihi tarunatarani shri sarani bhihi. Shri means beauty. Sarani is sequences or series. So Tarunatara is, like we have seen in the last class, Tarunatarani is the romance, the beauty of romance. That is what the vague meaning here comes out, literal meaning comes out to be. Taruna Tarani Shri Saranibhihi, the waves of romance upwelling or upsurging, like in a young couple, young couple, the rays or maybe waves of romance which are upwelling in them, swelling up in them. So are your chaya bhihi, so are your, you could say shadows, but the literal meaning of chaya is a shadow. But what it means is chaya can also mean rays themselves. So the rays of your deha, tanu chaya bhihi, and how are these rays of your of your tanu? They are sequentially outputting the beauty of romance as though it were between the Taruna and the Tarani. So the joy of Shiva Shakti, the joy of you being with your spouse, such Shringara Rasa is being conveyed through the rays emerging from your body, which are orange in color, Arunimani, which are enveloping and encompassing the entirety and swallowing up the entire sky and earth. This is the form of yours. So he or she who thinks of you in this way, who remembers you this way, in this particular form, what is the benefit he'll get? Asya, so it's a rhetorical question when he asks, how many Girvana Ganikas will not come to him? Which means many of the Girvana Ganikas will come to him. Girvana is Swarga, Ganika are dancers, or the literal meaning is those who are who are engaged in prostitution, Ganika. But here it means those who are the divine damsels, Girvana Ganikaha. Urvasha, for example, Urvashi, Rambha, Menaka, Tilottama are the four prominent apsaras. Urvashya Saha, with the most beautiful of the maiden amongst the divine damsels, they are getting Vashyaha. They will be completely under this person's spell. They will be completely enamored by this person's beauty and his charm. And what these Ganikas are like are their nayanas, their eyes are flickering like the deer. Trasyadvana harina shalina. Shalina means like. The Trasyadvana harina. Harina is deer. Vana harina is a deer which lives in the jungle. So they are always on the lookout for prey, sorry, predator. They are even when they are consuming grass, they are always looking every now and then, each second they're looking up to see if there is a predator around them. That is trasya. They are afraid. And even while they are eating the grass, even while they are chewing the grass, their eyes are always, on the lookout for other predators too. So similar to that, these damsels have eyes which are always on the lookout for, pardon me for saying this, using this expression, but for predators. So they are always on the lookout mm, for more beautiful, more handsome men. That is basically the idea. So they're always eyeing, they're always ogling at and trying to find which is the best, most handsome, most studded hunk there is. So they are looking for them, and such lustful damsels, they will be enchanted completely under the vasha. They will be completely under the spell of this fellow who is able to think of you in such a manner. All in all, just as in line with the previous shloka too, it is giving us the benefit of uh, a particular dhyana on a particular form. In the previous one, we saw how if a person were to think of you along with your servants who are white in color and they are reflecting your glory, he will become the Kavya Karta. He will become a great Mahakavya Karta. And he who thinks of you as being the prayasi, as being accompanied by your boyfriend, that is Brahma, Prajapati Brahma, just as you're spreading your aruni, your orange rays, and allowing the blossoming of their intellects. So one who thinks of that, then they will be able to do, they'll be able to even enchant the sajjanas and the sannyasis. Those who think of you in white, completely white, their vachanas will become really sweet and they'll have profundity in their vachanas. And that's it. So these were the a few shlokas which are describing the many benefits of dhyana on particular forms of Lalita. Is this clear? Any questions? अवगत अस्तु कृपया एकवारं गायतु
प्रयत्नं करो छायाभिस्ते तरुणतरणि श्रीसरनिभिः दिवं सर्वामुर्वीमरुणिमणि मग्नां स्मरति यः भवन्त्यस्य त्रस्यद्वनहरिणि शाली नयन भवन्त्यस्य वनहरिणशाली ननया
वनहरिणशालीन नयनाः
त्रस्यद्वनहरिणशालीननयनाः बहोर्वश्याः कति न गीर्वाणगणिकाः
तनुच्छायाभिस्ते तरुणतरणिश्रीसरणिभिः दिवं सर्वामुर्वीमरुणिमनिमग्नां स्मरति यः भवन्त्यस्यत्र स्यद्वनहरिणशालीननयनाः सहोर्वश्यावश्याः कति कति न गीर्वाणगणिकाः. Let's just have a look at such a picture where Lalita is shown as dawn at dawn. I'm hoping that no Bollywood image of an actress comes up. It's fine. She, that is, such a Saubhagya is also from Devi only.
Oh,
Okay, it's not there, but just picture dawn, goddess. In fact, in the Rig Veda, the most worshipped goddess is actually called Ushas, the dawn goddess. And she has more number of suktas dedicated to her, at least in the Rig Veda, than she stands sixth or seventh in line after in the entire list of gods who get the most number of hymns dedicated to them. So of course Indra, Agni, and Soma would be the highest. They would top the list. But amongst at least the goddesses, all the devis described in the Vedas, she stands at the foremost, at the front. So most cultures around the world, pre-Islamic and pre-Christian era, uh, the dawn and to some extent dusk was worshipped really proliferously by all cultures. So let's see Ushas, and which is why Lalita is being she is subsuming that aspect from the Vedas of she being Ushas, Usha Devi. In fact, a Sandhya that we do is actually first inspired by the Ushas, Usha Devi. Yeah, where the entirety of the soil has been percolated by the orangish hue splendoring forth from the sun. Though the sun may not have risen, but the entire sky and the soil would have turned orange already. So that is the goddess of dawn. You see here, Rigveda 6.64, etc. So she is always shown in a brahmacharini state, in a Yauvana state, just as the sun is also called a Balarka, like Trivikrama Vajja pointed out. He is still in his infancy, I mean not infancy, but you could say adolescence when he is still rising. So such rising, upwelling, and upsurge of hormones which happens within the lovers, that is the basic emotion conveyed through her rays of beauty and of romance. And what romance? Of course, it is of Shiva and Shakti Aikya. The romance between Shiva and Shakti, the deep craving of the Jiva for something larger, and that large, the vastness itself is called Brahman. So that longing of the Jiva itself is the rays of the orangish rays exuding from her body. All right, let's continue. मुखं बिन्दुं कृत्वा कुचयुगमधस्तस्य तदधो हरार्धं ध्यायेद्यो हरमहिषिते मन्मथकलाम् स सद्यः संक्षोभन्नयति वनिता इत्यतिलघु त्रिलोकीमप्याशु भ्रमयति रवीन्दुस्तनयुगाम् मुखं बिन्दुं कृत्वा कुचयुगम् अधः तस्य तद् अधः हरार्धं यः ध्यायेत् हे हरमहिषि तव ते मन्मथकलां सः सद्यः एव संक्षोभं वनिता नयति इति अतिलघु अतिलघु विषयः यतः सः त्रिलोकीम् अपि रवीन्दुस्तनयुगां त्रिलोकीम् अपि आशु भ्रमयति. What does it mean? यः मुखं बिन्दुं कृत्वा, who worships your mukha as a bindu, as a dot. Kucha yugam adhaha. Kucha yuga are the two breasts. Adhaha. So the breasts must come below the head, right? So kucha yugam adhaha. Tasya tad adhaha, and below that is the hara ardham, the half of hara. So here half of hara means that anga of the body of Devi, which is okay. There's no simpler way, no less chivalric way of putting it, but the yoni of the mother is called harardham because it is okay, penetrated, so to speak, by hara. So that is the part of the Devi where the aikya happens, the sambhoga happens. So that part is below. Harardham dhyayedyo hara mahishi te manmatha kalam. And so joining all these dots together, forming a triangle. And then there is a manmatha kala. There is a dot again of manmatha at the navel. So this diagram, which looks like a divisor symbol with a triangle below, this is the simplest form of Sri Chakra that one can draw. We have described the Sri Chakra already in a previous class. You can look it up if necessary. So, such a form, who thinks of mother in such a form, saha sankshobham nayati sadhyaha. He will take women for a ride. What does it mean? He will be able to charm women. And iti ati laghu. This is a very small matter that he will be able to charm women because saha, he can in fact enchant the Trilokim api. He can enchant the entire three worlds, Tribhuvana itself, which is like as though it will come before him like a woman, Ravi Indu Stanayugam, with the two bosoms of the Triloki. If you imagine the world itself to be a woman, then the two bosoms she carries would be the Ravi and the Indu. The sun and the moon itself would have become her upper body, and she would come before this person. Meaning what? And Ashu Brahmayati, and that entire Triloka will revolve around this person, the Kendra. That is the superficial meaning. So Hara Mahishi is the queen of Hara, the queen of Shiva. What is this trying to tell us? First of all, let's just take a look at the um, Sri Chakra, Sri Yantra. So if you can look at this image, you will be able to see a few markings which we just drew. So the very first triangle, this very first triangle with the bindu at the center, the very first triangle with the bindu at the center, and her mukham, her mukha, her face itself has become a dot. Mukham bindum kritva kucha yugam adhastasya tadadho harardham dhyayedyo haramahishite manmatha kalam. So such a diagram, if one visualizes and focuses on such a diagram, sa sadyas sankshobham nayati vanita ityati laghu. He will not be just able to charm mortals or women of the mortal world, but the entire Triloka itself will start dancing around him and going around him, uh, doing his bidding. Who can visualize goddess in this form? Of course, it just doesn't mean that tomorrow I will draw this picture to attract a spouse or a partner or girlfriend, boyfriend, etc. No, no. Mukham bindum kritva, one who visualizes the goddess's face. And so, what does the face do? The face is responsible for vak. So, the vak must be focused to a point. Mukham bindum kritva, and kucha yugam, like we have discussed already, represents the level of the anahata. So, this is the anahata. The energies must be brought at the vishuddhi, anahata, kuchayugam adhastasya tadadho, harardham, and at the swadhisthana, where the genitals are controlled through the bandhas. There are many bandhas as described in the yoga. So those bandhas must be appropriately done to bring the energy and lock it at the swadhisthana. And Manmatha Kalam is at the Manipura. So all the four middle chakras, the Vishuddhi, Anahata, Manipura, and Swadhisthana, and below this is the Muladhara, which is concerned with basic survival and reproduction. And then above this is the Ajna, which is completely disjoint from this world, which is completely mental. It has nothing to do with the material. This is of the complete spiritual plane. So between these two planes are the four inner planes, which are uh, which respectively are the Vishuddhi, Anahata, Manipura, and Swadhisthana. One who thinks of the mother in such a manner means one whose Kundali has been awakened and all these four chakras have been opened up. For such a person, the entire three Loki, the entire three worlds would start dancing around him. So that is actually an exaggeration because of course it is the earth which is revolving around the sun and so on and so forth. But the Triloki here refers to the three states of Lokana. Lokana means Anubhava, seeing. So the three states which are namely the Jagrat, Swapna and Sushupti. So one must have a little background in Vedanta to be able to understand, appreciate such metaphors. So Triloki is the three realms of consciousness, which are one in the waking state, one in the dreaming state, and the other in the completely switched off state, which is the deep sleep. These three Triloki api Ashu Brahmayati, he will have complete mastery over the three worlds because his energy are at his command, his or her command, and therefore these four chakras which are responsible for bringing about these three states of consciousness, he will be able to master over it. That is quite logical because the last and the Ajna chakra is responsible for complete meditation on the Turiya, the fourth aspect. Whereas, of course, Muladhara it's at the level of the animal. That's why we, in fact, very coincidentally, we place the Adhipati of Muladhara as Ganapati. Tvam Muladhare sthitosi nityam. So says the Atharva Ganesha Atharva Shirisham. So it represents all the animalistic basic survival functions which the body will anyway do. So there is a default setting. There, no concentration, no meditation, or no recognition of any other state happens. Even a dead body, for some time at least, will perform its usual metabolic activities. And even any amoeba, any fungus also will already be performing all those very same functions in different, less sophisticated manners. Maybe that's it. But whereas these four chakras are what makes us human, at least so the Yoga Tantras speak. And these four are responsible for bringing and pushing our mind through these three states of consciousness. These are the Triloki. And therefore, whose energies have been concentrated at such levels. And what the technique is, and that is actually not described in the Soundarya Lahari. It is, in fact, described in a more profound text called the Shat Chakra Nirupanam. I forget the name of the author. Please forgive me, but you can just look it up. Where what is the exact method? What is the technique to meditate on Swadhisthana? How to raise the energy to Manipura and so on and so forth. So all these details, nuances can be found elsewhere. The point that Adi Shankaracharya wants to make here is that by very cleverly using the word Vanita, he is trying to convey two different meanings at the same time. One is, of course, he will find enough karma in within himself because Lalita Devi is also called Kameshwari. By the anugraha of Kameshwari, he will be able to pursue. I mean, the different women themselves will start pursuing him, and you can just change their gender and say if it is a woman who is doing the dhyana, the men will start following her, and so on. But that is the lesser meaning. That is the Vyavaharika meaning. The more subtle meaning, the Sukshma meaning is like we just discussed. And in fact, they say this Manmatha Kala is the Manmatha Yantra, which we just drew. This is the Manmatha Yantra. For maybe some of you, if interested at all, the future viewers of this video, you can put this symbol up instead of the Illuminati symbol. You can just put this symbol up in front of our doors. Let's see if any chance, any luck is there in trying to pursue a girlfriend or a boyfriend. This is the overall meaning. Let's just do this once again, the recitation. मुखं बिन्दुं कृत्वा कुचयुगमधस्तस्य तदधो हरार्धं ध्यायेद्यो हरमहिषिते मन्मथकलाम् स सद्यः सङ्क्षोभन्नयति वनिता इत्यतिलघु त्रिलोकीमप्याशु भ्रमयति रवीन्दुस्तनयुगाम्. Any questions? Would anybody like to comment or interpret this in a different way? Please feel free to do so.
It's very, very interesting the way the two meanings are so diverse and different from one another.
Mm.
But we do say that whatever sadhana we do, it should be for the para instead of the vyavaharika. We say that, we should do sadhana in such a way that we are able to overcome these different basal instincts. How would we relate this to that?
Satyam. Vedeshwapi, if you see in the Vedas, Anekatra Prajan Dehi, Putran Dehi, Isham Dehi. Isha is rice or food. So, in most of the verses, at least of Rig Veda, as far as I've seen, and also I've heard that it is the same all throughout in Yajurveda and Atharva Veda, that in many places, much of the Karma Kanda section, that is the Samhita section and the Brahmana section, not the caste, but the Brahmana is the second portion of the Vedas. So those portions are completely very material, very worldly. Give me this, give me that, give me, three wives, give me a cure from XYZ disease, and let Indra come and give Somam Pibatu, let him drink Soma and bring rains to our fields. All such prayers have been really abundant. No, तदपि अस्ति तद् श्रीसूक्ते आम् सोमं पिबतु वृत्रः exactly. Kshemo astunaha, it comes at another place in the Yajurveda where let Indra drink Soma and be pleased because he is happy only when he is drunk, and let him give boons to us. So in fact, much of it is very uninspired. It is very underwhelming, so to speak. Uh, and in fact, that is why Vedanta has taken such a front seat, because in at least today's world and time, much of our basal needs have already been taken care through by technology or by whatever social circumstances, and some opulence has come in each rung of our aspect of life. So therefore, we don't really focus much on material prospects, and hence we are more interested in the para pursuits. But it was not always the case. At least, you know, speaking from a history point of view, the civilization was not really that opulent. It was not really. They had to struggle for even basic needs to ends to be met, for which such prayers were is understandable that they would have made such prayers. Yes. So ultimately, as Adi Shankaracharya himself has professed, the final aim of everything is moksha. It is spiritual pursuit. Hence, he tries to always bring an angle of moksha or of adhyatma in each of his shlokas, at least to a great extent. We can't directly link how this particular interpretation would fetches the spiritual interpretation. They are two different ones. Maybe he purposefully designed it in such a way that it can be both bhuktida and muktida. Maybe something like that. I mean, I don't think I answered your question, but yeah.
Or is it to confuse the Ajnani?
Ah, perhaps very true. Yes, Satyam. Tatra Kujaraho, something, some temples are there, right? Not just that, even the Channaraya Swami and all these old temples. Sarvatrapi Ganikaha Gandharva Purushaha Tatra Devalayasya Bahi Stambheshu Bahishchitreshu cha Vartante eva. It's all part of life, maybe. So it's just the peripheral. That's why it's always in the periphery, in the parikrama places. So those who are jnanis like me, we may be encaptured by that, and we may spend our time at the periphery, which is fine, I think. But yeah, the inner essence, the core meanings will also be quite hidden, just as the Garbhagudi is also quite hard to find from outside. What do you think? Do you think?
आकर्षयित्वा इति वा?
Satyam Syat. Yeah, sadhu.
Somehow bring the Ajnani also, show him something. He will come thinking this is something else, and then slowly he'll be uh, thrown into Advaita.
Mm. Very true. What is that? Uh, the four types of bhaktas are as described by Krishna. आर्तः जिज्ञास चतुर्विधा भजन्ते माम जना सुकृतिनोर्जुन आर्तो जिज्ञासुः अर्थार्थी ज्ञानी च भरतर्षभ. So these are the different levels of a bhakta or different aspirations of a bhakta. You could say one who is artha, one who is in trouble, will also come to God. One who wants to seek something out of God also will come to God, some material benefits. One who wants to just question, understand the predicament of life, he or she also will go to God. And finally, the jnani, even after realization, will still choose some divine company, so divine time pass, so to speak. So these are the four different kinds of devotees we see. So maybe these verses have been, like you rightly said, given for the artharthi, those who want something in life. It's hard. Maybe even in his time, it was hard to get a girl, or maybe it was hard to get a boy. So who knows? So he is repeatedly enticing by giving this offer of marriage, of proposal of sex, at least because these are very basic instincts. So he's just adding, like you said, the ingredient of Devi into that.
देव्याः देवीं भज इत्येव मूलांशः अत्र. किमपि किमपि लालसा स्यात्, परन्तु तं दृष्ट्वा अत्र देवीं भज. यदा सः देवीं भजति सा एव अज्ञानस्य विरोधं करोति, सा गुरुः. इति मम आलोचना अस्ति. कुण्डली कुमारी कृते रात्रि पवित्रसामूहे गुणिनि कुहारिणि गुह्ये गुरुमूर्ते त्वां नमामि कामाक्षि इति सूत्रपञ्चशत्याम्
Mm-hmm.
गुरुमूर्ते कामाग्नि नमः
Gurumurti. She is. Anybody else would like to pitch in? Is anybody else around? Veena Arye, would you like to say something?
I'm blessed to have such conversation. Nothing to say from my side.
Astu. If you have anything to comment, remark, please, or disagree, please feel free to do so. We are all here as learners. We are not teaching anything.
Okay.
Astu.
But I can chant the verses.
Oh, then wonderful. Please do the 20th one.
Kiranti mankebhyah kirananikurumbaamritarasam kreditva madhrate himakarashilamurtinivayah sasarpanam darpam shamayati shakuntadhipaiva ज्वरप्लुष्टां दृष्ट्या सुखयति सुधाधारसुरया.
Beautiful. Sundaram.
Thank you.
Kirantim angebhyah किरणनिकुरुम्ब अमृतरसं हृदि त्वाम् आधत्ते यः हिमकरशिलामूर्तिम् इव सः सर्पाणां शकुन्ताधिपः इव दर्पं शमयति ज्वरप्लुष्टान् सुधाधारसिरया दृष्ट्या सुखयति. Let's see this again. Yah, he or she who worships. Now again, you have understood already the framework. It's all a description of particular forms of Devi which are being worshipped for particular benefits. Even before we start a puja, what is the very first thing we do? Sankalpaha mama upatta samasta durita kshayadvara Shri Parameshwara Prityartham Asmakam Saha Kutumbanam, and will there be a big list of all desires we should bring before God. We will have done a small Shodashopachara puja of 20 minutes. In which puja we want the 30 minutes of Sankalpa. Uh, uh, Satyam, this is a very hypocritical thing that we do, that we want to bring an entire bucket list of all our wishes, for and we will do a 5 minute, like you said, a Panchopachara puja. So that is human, yeah. All with akshatas, correct. ध्यायामि धूपमाघ्रापयामि पुनः पूजां करिष्ये. That's it. So yeah. Uh, so that is how we humans also. I mean, nothing wrong. We're not judging anybody, but we also do it ourselves so many times. And similarly, even in the Rudram. So after the Namo, after we propitiate before Sri Rudra, then there is an entire Chamaka portion, 11 Anuvakas, just asking for this, that, Vajaschame, Prasavanchame, Pratitishchame, Dhitinchame, Dhitishchame, and so on and so forth. So we have at least there we will first prostrate and then ask for our boons. In Sankalpa, we will already present all the wish list. This is the bribe we are giving to God.
Tamaka, they run out of the named things and they start saying numbers. Ekachame,
Yeah. So that is how we humans are, and we have been so since 3,000, 4,000 years. Just believe that. And the same Vedic rishis who would ask for this and that. Of course, they also asked for moksha and other such things, but the human nature hasn't changed much. So here like he said, the carrot and stick model. Either you make a person do something or not do something with a stick, or show him, dangle him a carrot, dangle a carrot before him or her. So here the carrot which is being dangled is Jwara Plushtan. So most people are suffering in the world with ailments. Sharirika Amayaha Santi. So what is the benefit I will get if I devote myself to Lalita? It is my jwaras and other rogas will go off. how? That is the method. So he's saying I should meditate on Devi in what form? Himakara Shilamurtim Iva, as the daughter of the mountain, who is as cold and snowy white as the Himalayas itself. Himakara Shila Murtim. Let's see if we can pull up an image like that. Parvati as white goddess. Gauri. Satyam. Gauri. Mahagauri. Okay. So this is not Gauri, but okay. That's anyway. Closest human representation is this. Yeah. So like the Gauri, daughter of the Himalayas, Parvati. There's no Himalaya picture though. Yeah. This is quite good. Himakara Shila Murtim Iva Yaha Dhyayati. And how? Kirantim Angebhya, Tasyaha Angebhya, from her organs, means from her limbs. Kirantim, she is spreading. What is she spreading? Kirana, she is spreading rays. And what are these representing? These rays are of Amrita Rasa. These rays are of complete immortality, of Ananda Rasa, which are effulging, they're exuding from her body, from her romas. Nikuramba is uh, a set or a group, a bunch. That is Nikuramba. The Pathantra is Nikurumba. Kirana Nikurumba Amrita Rasam. Both mean the same. It's a bunch of rays which are emanating from her body, which carry with them, like the moonlight, the sweetness of immortality. So she is the Amrita figure. She is the figure of complete immortality. She is Amritam Anantam. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. That which has no end. Ananta is synonymous with Amritam, because Mrita is an end. Death is an end. So Ananta is the same as Amrita. She, this Parabrahma Swarupini, she who is, her rays itself are of Amrita. Hridi yaha adhatte, he or she who devotes his heart and soul and mind to such a form, Himakara Shila Murti Mivayaha, Saha, he will have the ability, he or she will have the ability to Jwaraplushtan Sudhadhara Siraya Drishtya Eva Sukhayati. By just a glance of such an individual who has done a sadhana of such a form, he or she will be able to cure illnesses, especially of the genus of fever. So there are many different kinds of fevers which happen in the body according to Ayurveda. So Jwara Plushtan. So all that Jwaras which happen in the body. In fact, inflammation is also somehow classified in Ayurveda as a Jwara. So any inflammation of the body, any inflammation of or an organ or of a tattva, let's say an excess of kapha or an excess of vayu, etc., are all categorized as jwara. So all of such ailments he or she will be able to cure, because in himself or herself, in her own body, Sudha Dhara Siraya. Sira is a small trinklet. There would be a small manifestation of the same Amrita Rasa, which is called Sudha, happening within that person's, this yogini's body, because of which, because of their touch or because of their drishtya, just their look, they will be able to cure such illnesses. Sukhayati, they'll be at least able to comfort. Sukhayati. Katham, what is the upama given here? Shakuntadhipah iva yah darpa sarpanam darpam shamayati. Just as Shakuntadhipa, Shakuntaha arthat Pakshi, Pakshinam Rajakaha Garudaha. Garudaha yatha sarpanam darpam shamitavan. How he quelled the pride of all these serpents by defeating millions of serpents at once in his in his search to find the Amrita Rasa for his mother. Uh, so that's a different story altogether. But in fact, he waged such a big war against the Nagas that Vishnu himself had to intrude and intervene to appreciate this Garuda and give him the Amrita. Permit him to use the Amrita. So such was the prowess of Garuda. So just as Garuda was able to quell the pride of all these sarpas, this person, this yogi or the yogini, will be able to quench and quell all the inflammations happening within the body because of the Sudhadhara. Vinarye, पुनः एकवारं गायतु. वीणारे अस्ति किम्?
किरणतीमङ्केभ्यः किरणनिकुरुम्बान्धतरसं हृदित्वा माधृत्ते हिमकरशिलामूर्तिनिलयः ससर्पाणां दर्पं शमयति शकुन्ताधिप इव ज्वरप्लुष्टान् दृष्ट्या सुखयति सुधाधारसिरया.
Would anybody like to chime in and give your views?
I feel like Subhadhara Siri is directly referring to Mata Upasate.
पुनः वदतु.
Subhadhara Siri iti padam अन्यत् किञ्चित् सिरिः भवति तत् कल्पयति इति न भासते. सा मातायाः हस्तं तस्य अस्ति, तस्य ज्वरं नाशयितुं तत्र एव माता आगता इति भासते.
प्रायः स्यात् तथा स्यात्. सुधाधार सिरा इति तत्र तत्पदं वा? सिरया इति तृतीया विभक्तिः. सुधाधार सिरया.
Mata has kept her hand on this person who is doing this dhyana on her, and all his ailments are going away.
Okay, so you are saying it is the meditator will himself or herself get cured of such jwaras. Okay.
And Mata is directly putting her hands over him so that all the jwaras are going away.
Okay. A possible, an alternative interpretation, correct. The reason why I thought it should be he must act as an agent is because jwara plushtan is bahuvachana. So saha sukhayati, he consoles or he he comforts is sukhayati will go along with saha because sudhadhara siraya would be in tritiya. This was my reasoning, but yes, possibly this could also be one of the other meaning.
Kim ityukte jwaraplushtan दृष्ट्या सुधाधारसिरया कुतः सुधाधारसिरि इत्युक्ते किरन्तीमङ्गेभ्यः सुधाधारसिरि.
Okay. He is able because he is meditating on such a form of Devi who is exuding and scattering across herself all the Amrita Rasa. So, because of the effect of the Amrita Rasa, his or her, the devotees, Jwara and Plushtas get Shamana. Okay. Yeah.
किमित्युक्ते एतत् सुधाधारसिरि कुतः आगता इत्युक्ते किरन्तीमङ्गेभ्यः आगता इति.
शक्यते तदपि तात्पर्यं शक्यते. करेक्ट. साधु. Yes. Let's go ahead. तटिल्लेख तन्वीं तपनशशिवैश्वानरमयीं निषण्णां षण्णामप्युपरि कमलानां तव कलाम् महापद्माटव्यां हृदितमलमायेन मनसा महान्तः पश्यन्तो दधति परमाह्लादलहरीम्. And finally, after all these little material benefits which one would get after dhyana on particular forms, here what is the ultimate benefit that we all want? We want parama ahlada lahari. We want unceasing, ultimate happiness. It may not be pleasure, but we want something which is permanent, and that permanence itself, that continuous existence itself is happiness. Like he pointed out in one of the earlier classes, where Sat eva anandaha, Chit eva anandaha. So that is Parama Ahlada Laharim. So who will get that? Mahantaha Dadhati. The Mahanta, the great minds will be able to get that. Kada Pashyantaha, when they see what? When they have the Sakshatkara of Devi, in what form? In where Kutra Manasa, in the Manas, when they Pashyantaha, they'll not be able to see through their eyes, perhaps they may be able to, but at least here it says Manasa Pashyantaha, when they see with their minds, they will be able to find it. And what? Which mind? Mridita Mala Mayena. The Maya, which is like a Mala, which is like the dirt, has been Mridita. It has been grinded up and thrown away. It has been ground, all this mala of Maya, of Moha has been ground from their minds, and it has been excreted away from their minds. So, with such a mind, when they see Pashyantaha, Yada Pashyanti, te Paramahlada Laharim Dasati, they will rejoice in the ultimate bliss. And what will they see? Kam Pashyanti Tatil Lekha Tanvim. She who is as slender as Tanvi, means slender as a strike of lightning, as a stroke of lightning, as uh, powerful, as quick to come and also go away, and also as slender as a hair width of lightning. Tatil lekha tanvim tapana shashi vaishwarara mayim. Tapana ityukte suryah, shashi chandrah, vaishwarara agnihi. Trayatatvam. Kim? Surya Chandra Agni.
एते त्रिनयनाः इति
Trinayanaनि. ते नयनानि अपि न सा एतैः निर्मिता एव मयि. She is made of these three tattvas. Tapana, Shashi, Vaishwanara, Mayim, Kalam. When they look at your Kala means your beauty, your form. And what Kala is this? Shannam api kamalanam upari nishannam. You are sitting, nishanna upavishati. Kutra? Shannam kamalanam upari. You are sitting above the six lotuses, which we have already seen in much detail. The six lower chakras. She is sitting upari of, she is sitting above as the Sahasrara upon these six lower chakras of the Prapancha. Such a form, when they witness, when they behold within themselves, where Mahapadma Atavya, Mahapadma is the Sahasrara, Atavi is the forest. So when they behold you as being seated on these six Padmas in their Sahasrara, in the Mahapadma, who is as flashy and as quick and energetic as a bolt of lightning, whose form is made of light, which is coming from, which is equivalent to Surya, which is equivalent to Chandra, and Agni, which respectively represent Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. So you are the form of Prakriti having the three gunas. who is sitting above the lotuses. Therefore, complete mastery over the six lower lotuses has already happened. And Maya from the mind, the mala, the dirt called as Maya, or in confusion, existential confusion from the mind, has been ground up and it has been thrown away into such a mind, or in with such a mind. When the Mahantas see, they will see only Parama Ahlada Lahari. Let's see if we can find an image of a goddess of lightning. There must be a lightning goddess also, at least in the mm,
Kim
Greek mythology.
Pashyanti,
Huh?
Kim Pashyanti, Hreem Pashyanti,
Kim Pashyati?
Hreem.
Laharim. Hrim Pashyati. Pranavam eva Pashyanti. Satu. There was a goddess of, in the Greco-Roman, there was the wife of Zeus, Bronte and Astrip. Astrip, okay. Lightning goddess as Parvati. Let's see that. Yeah, she who is as slender as this, with who is the form of all sources of light itself, which is Surya, Chandra, and Agni. There doesn't seem to be a better picture in line with this. Anyway, so Laharim Hrim Bija Mantram Te Prayah Pashyanti Ityapi Syat. Parama Ahlada Hrim Pashyanti.
Katahan va?
Um,
Santim Tapanasya Shivaishvanaramayi Shannamapyupari Kamalanam Savakalam Mahapadmatapyam Muditamayena Manasa Mahantak Pashyanto Dadhati Paramahladalahari.
Sushtu. One last verse and we can wrap this up. Bhavani Twandase Mayi Vitara Drishtim Sakarunam Itistotum Vanchan Kathayati Bhavani Twamiti Yaha Tadaiva Twantasmai Dishasi Nija Sayujya Padavim मुकुंद ब्रह्मेन्द्र स्फुट मकुट नीराजित पदाम् अति मनोहरः श्लोकः अयम् भवानी त्वं दासे मयि वितर दृष्टिं सकरुणाम्. This is actually in quotations. Iti means it's used for quotations. Yaha tvam stotum vanchan. Somebody wants to start praising you, and he starts with these words. Bhavani tvam dase mayi vitara sakarunam drishtim iti. Hey Bhavani, O wife of Bhava, tvam, you, in the dasa, in a dasa like me, in a slave like me, in a servant of yours like me, sakarunam drishtim vitara. We also ask of the same thing in different ways to our bosses. We don't explicitly say, yeah, please take pity on me, but we would always try to suck up to him and do this chatukarita and because we are in a way servants to this organization, to this company, to this particular supervisor or a boss. Therefore, we will try to request them for showing sa karuna drishti. Let them look at us with a karuna drishti, with empathy, with understanding, with compassion. Just because they are in a position of higher power, let them not be cruel to us. This is what any servant would ask of the master, right? Similarly, let's say a layman bhakta starts asking the same thing to the mother. Because, oh mother, you are Ishwari, you are the wife of Brahman, so Parabrahman. So you are like the Maya who is controlling us. So we are your servants. Hence, please, at least though we can't do much about our position as a servant, we are bound to be so. Therefore, at least show some pity on us. This is the stota that this person wants to start doing. But what happens as he begins to utter these words, Bhavani Tvam itself, Kathayati, Bhavani Tvam iti yaha, Tadaiva, instantly listening to this prayer, oh mother, what do? Tvam tasmai nija sayujya padavim dishasi. You are so compassionate that it doesn't require a servant to tell you to be compassionate. You are so compassionate that you overdo your boons by doing what? Because you hear the words Bhavani Tvam, you will immediately send him. You will say, I know what this fellow is going to ask. So, because he has come to me, I'm going to send him directly to Nija Sayujya Padavi. I will give him the status of being ever in the Sayujya of herself. You will make him or her completely dissolved within yourself. So be in always complete Sayujya, in a state of Samadhi always. Just today, Trivikramavarya was giving a very nice interpretation of Samadhi. He says Samadhi is Samadhi or Samabuddhi. So you will give such a Padavi to this person, which is Mukunda Brahma Indra Sphuta Makuta Nirajita Padam, which Padavi, that position, that state in this entire universe is hankered after even by Mukunda, by Vishnu, by Brahma, by Indra and the other gods. And therefore, as a mark of respect that this fellow has achieved this supremost position of being in Sayojya with you, what do? They'll do Nirajana, they'll do Mangalarti to their pada, to the position, because they can't light matches or they don't have camphor with them. They understand that the kiritas that they are wearing themselves are so effulgent with light. They are splendorous, they are dazzling. So they remove their kirita. When you say, hats off, right? What does this hats off mean? They are taking their crowns off to show respect. So Sputa, which is shining, Makuta is the crown. Themselves they use for doing the arati to this person and to this state of being in Sayujya. So in this blessed state,
अत्र एकम् उत्तमम् interpretation अहं श्रुतवान्.
I'll just come to that just a minute, 1 second.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is the literal meaning. And I am hoping that this is the same interpretation which is there. That why does she do this? Because she interprets the first two words to mean Bhavani Tvam. So this is the Lot Lakara form, means Bhavani means I want to become. Tvam Bhavani, I want to become you. I want to become you. So because she is always in a state of Advaita, she also thinks in an Advaitic fashion. Just as Trivikramaditya just said, Ekaivaham Jagatyatra Dvitiya Kamama Para. The question that Shumbha asked was, you people are so many, you're fighting. So she, at least if she was thinking in a Dvaitic sense, she must have said, okay, these are different goddesses. These goddesses are myself, my own manifestations. She doesn't even say these are the different manifestations. She says, I am the only thing in the world. So she is always in the state of Advaita, which she nicely pointed out. So with that, when this fellow says Bhavanitvam, she thinks, oh, this fellow wants to become me. Okay, therefore I'll merge myself into him and I'll merge him into myself. Sarva bhutani chatmanam sarva bhuteshu chatmanam sarva bhutani chatmani. Ikshate yoga yuktatma sarvatra samadarshana. Was this the interpretation you wanted to bring to the table, sir?
भवानित्वम् इत्युक्ते भवानि भवाम इत्यत्र भवानि इति
Um,
अहं तदेव
sadhu.
धन्यवादः
Dhanyawad.
क्षम्यताम्
Sadhu, sadhu. So, a very nice play on the words, Adishankar. I mean, he's always, anyway, plasticizing the Samskrita language. He uses it however he wants. Of course, respecting the rules of grammar always, nevertheless. But yeah, his mastery over words is so brilliant. भवानित्वं दासे मयि वितरदृष्टिं सकरुणाम् इति स्तोतुं वाञ्छन् कथयति भवानित्वम् इति यः तदैव त्वं तस्मै दिशसि निजसायुज्य पदवीम्. And why is that state so blessed? That makes more sense with Trivikramavarya's meaning interpretation. Why? Because it is the state of Advaita which is not even reachable by gods who are living in Dvaita, who are living in plurality, in multitudinous. So Mukunda, Brahmendra, Indra Sphuta Makuta Nirajita Padam. So they are also in awe and in envy of such a blessed state that they shower their respect and decorum.
अत्र शिवस्य नाम न दत्तं
Hmm.
सः
Hmm.
पूर्वमपि सायुज्यः इति अर्धनारीश्वरः इति वा
Ah, fantastic. Satyam. Nija Sayujya Padavim. Correct. Nija, yes. Sayujya is the state of being merged with Nija, with herself. So, yeah, Ardhanarishwara. Oh, it makes more sense because Bhavanitvam could also then mean I want to become Shiva. Bhavaha, Bhavaha Bhaveyamiti. I want to be Shiva. So, because she can't literally make him into a Shiva, she merges himself with her in the Ardhanarishwara form. Yeah, perhaps. Every time, all you people, good people's contribution, leads to different levels of meaning. Ah, correct, correct. Now I understand what you were trying to say. Yeah. Mukunda Brahmendra doesn't have Shiva there. Yeah. And this, yes, the other implication is it also because he says, I want to be Shiva, but she gives herself to him completely and makes him also herself. It again comments on how Shiva and Shakti are not two different things but the same. When he asks to become Shiva, she makes him Shakti, which is one and the same. Shiva Shakti Aikya Rupini. Hmm.
तत्र लब्धं भवानित्वम् इत्यत्र कुत्रापि किमपि शब्दस्य भवः इति अर्थः कथं लब्धं
Nichiti pratyo vartate yasmat. There's one sutra which says Nama dhatuka. So Ramayati, if the word there is a Ramayati which means to behave like Rama, just as Putrayati means to behave like Putra, and even we saw this another word Sukhayati. There is no dhatu called Sukha, but still it has become a dhatu because of that particular sutra. I mean, you may know it better. I forget the sutra number and all. Hmm?
धातुवत्
Ah, dhatu, dhatuvat, yes. I think it must be young look or some pratyaya which is used there along with the niche. So because of that, the nama pada becomes a dhatu like dhatuvat satyam. And tasmad kriya padani utpadyante. Tatha eva bhavati. The usual meaning is which comes from the dhatu bhu means to become. That is one of the meanings which you rightly pointed out. The second one is bhavaha eva bhavat. One who becomes like bhava is also the same word which is either bhavayati or because of the young look pratyaya it becomes bhavati, means to behave like bhava. Bhava means Shiva. Bhavaya namaha, Sharvaya namaha, Shivaya namaha, it comes.
भवानि तस्य भवानी भवति वा?
No, no. This Bhavani, the usual meaning is Bhavasya Patni Bhavani iti. Uh, the lot lakara form of Bhavati will be also same Bhavani only. I want to become like Bhava. That is the meaning of Bhavani. That is one meaning. The second meaning is, like you rightly said, Tvam Bhavani. I want to become you. Then the third meaning is, of course, I am Dasa, hey Bhavani, O Queen of Bhava, please take pity on me. That is the third meaning. So these are the three meanings which are possible. One is through the Nama Dhatuka, I want to be Shiva. When you say Shivoham, Shivoham, it's a similar tone that this fellow wants to take. And the second one is the usual Dvaitic meaning of I am the servant and you are the Lordess, the Empress. And the third one is Advaitic, which is I want to become you. Bhavanitvam. Shivayati means to become Shiva. And with that look pratyaya, it becomes Shivati. Shivati means to behave like Shiva or to become like Shiva. Mm. And its lot lakara form would be Shivani, just as Bhavani, Shivani.
रमति तदपि रामवत् यः इति वक्तुं शक्यते।
Ramati, it will be Ramati. No, no, Ramayati is to behave like Rama. Because of the young look, it becomes Ramati. Ramate is different. Yeah, that is the original dhatu from which Rama comes. Ramate is to revel.
धन्यवादः।
धन्यवादः। अस्तु, पुनः उच्चार्यता।
भवानि त्वं दासे मयि विकरदृष्टिं सकरुणा इति स्तोतुं वाञ्छन् कथयति भवानि त्वमिति यः तदैव त्वं तस्यै दिशसि निजसायुज्य पदवीम् कुन्दप्रम्भेन्द्रस्फुटमकुटनीराजितपदाम्।
साधु। वीणारे भवती अपि गायतु। प्लीज सिंग।
सात्र नास्ति इति भासते।
ओ अस्तु। भवानि त्वं दासे मयि वितरदृष्टिं सकरुणाम् इति स्तोतुं वाञ्छन् कथयति भवानि त्वमिति यः तदैव त्वं तस्मै दिशसि निजसायुज्य पदवीम् मुकुन्द ब्रह्मेन्द्र स्फुटमकुटनीराजितपदाम्। अस्तु, किमपि वक्तुम् इच्छति किम्? कोऽपि अभिप्रायः?
धन्यवादाः।
धन्यवादः।
ज्ञानचक्षुं किमुच्यते
भवतः एव ये अभिप्रायाः तात्पर्याणि अतीव सहायकार्याः सन्ति।
माता एव वातयति, अहं किमपि न।
अस्तु, नमश्चण्डिकाय। धन्यवादः। नमस्ते।
नमस्ते। नमस्कारः।
नमस्कारः।